Hi everyone, I just wanted to share a bit of info about exhaust on a 2016 Kawasaki Versys 1000. So, stock exhaust, pipe, muffler, silencer, whatever you want to call it. I didn't like the sound of it. I wanted it a little bit more throaty. I know it's not a V-twin, but I wanted a little bit more noise out of it. So I took this off, I put this pipe on, and didn't really change it much. Changes it a little bit at high RPMs, but not all that much. So the catalytic converter under the bike, I even went as far as leaving the exhaust off, and I just had a little exhaust tip made about 4 inches long at an exhaust shop, and still no real difference. A little bit of rumble when it's idling, but when it's driving, it still sounds like sport bike. So a buddy of mine bought a Dominator exhaust for his V-Strom, and of course it sounds very throaty. He's got a twin in it, but Dominator exhaust makes a cat delete pipe. So what this does is it goes in place from the header pipe, right? I have to cut it roughly right in about there. And then it comes back and bolts to the same spot where the cat bolts to under the bike. And then, of course, where the cat leaves into the exhaust silencer or muffler. So I'm going to attempt to get rid of the cat on this bike. I've seen a couple other guys do it online. Seems to work. And Dominator claims that I do not have to remap the ignition on the bike. So we will see. So the bike sounds, this is a little bit deceiving because there's no exhaust pipe on it, but it normally doesn't rumble like that. So typical sound from this type of engine. So I'm going to try to get it a little bit louder, a little more rumble to it. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so to get the cat out from underneath the center stand, I obviously had to take the bike off the center stand. And this section of pipe right here is too tight to the underside of the engine, so I can't cut it with a grinder or sawzall. So I had to disconnect the headers, right, off of the engine. And it's just sitting here now. I'm too lazy and too scared to disconnect the O2 sensor because I don't want to break it. So it's fine where it is. I'm not wrecking the wire. But I'm about to cut the pipe right here. And should be working fine. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so I cut through the cat pipe, or the pipe from the header manifold down to the catalytic converter, with a combination of mostly grinder, and finished it off with a sawzall. Okay, so then this goes over the last piece that's left over. However, there is the start of the cat inside this pipe. So what I'm unsure of is if that's going to affect the performance of the bike or the remapping or whatever, because in here there's absolutely nothing. So it's basically just a straight pipe all the way from the engine through the headers and into this end. Now there's a little baffle in there. It's not it doesn't move or anything. It just splits the 4 pipes. But obviously I've left in the O2 sensor. And then this piece slides over. Those holes are from me. I just did some test holes just to see what was in there before I cut it. Okay, so then obviously that gets clamped. And then this goes to my muffler. So dry fitting the headers in place. So they're up in the holes coming out of the engine, of course. It's just sitting on a floor jack. And the measurements worked out pretty good where I marked it, because that's the bracket, and it's going in through the hole where the original cat was bolted to the bike. So I'm going to proceed and fasten the header back onto the bike. Tighten that clamp, Might have to put some muffler cement around it maybe. And then just for fun, I'm gonna fire it up and see how loud it is without the muffler on it. Okay, so the cat delete pipe is installed. The only problem I have is there's a little slit in it right here, obviously, so it's loose when you put it over this pipe. And one of my little test holes is right on the edge of this clamp. So I'm getting a little bit of hissing. I don't have any muffler cement or muffler tape or exhaust tape. So I'm getting a little bit of hissing out of there. No big deal, I can fix that. Okay, and then I've clamped it to my aftermarket pipe that I put on because I didn't like my stock pipe, and my stock pipe is huge, as you know. It just takes up too much room, it's too heavy, and it's super quiet. Okay, so just kind of lightly fasten together. So anyways, I'll keep this. I don't think I'll need it, but just depending on how hot it gets and how hot the exhaust pipe gets and everything else, I'm gonna keep this waffle piece in here because I'm assuming it's maybe got something to do with the O2 sensor, maybe makes it a little bit quiet, I guess. And what I would have to do is cut this all the way through, get this inside of this piece inside here, and then clamp it back together. So it's winter where we live, there's snow on the ground. I can't take it for a test drive, but I'm going to finish it off, get rid of all the leaks that I have, and then when the weather gets nice, hopefully sometime within the next month, I'll take it out for a rip. And I'll let you know. Thanks. So I finished the install of this cat delete pipe. Now you can see where I clamped it on to the headers coming out of the engine. I put some high temperature gasket silicone in that joint just in case. I don't know if that was the wisest thing to do if it's going to hold up, but hopefully it helps. And then underneath the bike, right on that bracket comes with this pipe, bolts onto the original mount on the original cat, where the cat bolted to the bike. So that worked out good. Fit is great. It lines right up with the existing pipe location for the silencer or the exhaust muffler. This is, of course, like I said, aftermarket. So I've got it all bolted together. I am just letting this high temperature silicone set up for a little bit, and I'll start it up tomorrow, see how it sounds. I've finished installing the connector pipe, or the cat delete pipe from Dominator. on a 2016 Kawasaki Versys 1000. I did it, I started it up, idled it for half an hour or so, didn't have any leaks or anything like that, so that works good. So right in this spot here, there's an O2 sensor. So what I did in this spot, there was a little bit left over on this header pipe behind the O2 sensor. I cut off half of this interior waffle corrugated chunk of stainless to create just a little bit of back pressure for that O2 sensor, because what I was finding is it took a little bit longer to start, and then it idled a little bit odd at first, as if it was trying to remap itself or figure out what was going on, because essentially it was just a straight pipe right out of the engine. So I cut a little piece and I tapped it inside. It's only about an inch long or so, but I think it's gonna help that O2 sensor read a little bit better. Okay, and then again, this is an aftermarket pipe that I originally had on the bike. I kept that on. I think it makes it a little bit quieter than what it would be if I just had a normal single silencer coming off of there. Okay, that's what actually got deleted off of the bike. And I don't know, I heard one guy say it was half the weight of a bag of concrete, but it's only, I don't know, maybe 20 pounds or something, but still, I got rid of that. So let's go start it up. Starts off real nice, no hesitation at all. Exhaust has a nice little rumble to it, but it's not obnoxious. No leaks or anything. The bike definitely sounds a little more throaty. By no means is it a V-twin with a straight pipe on it. Doesn't idle like that, never would sound like that anyways. But it's got more of a low tone and more low tone even with acceleration. It's not so high-pitched sewing machine whiny anymore. So I cannot take it on the road because it's winter here, but as soon as the roads dry up in a little bit, I'll take it out for a good rip and see what it sounds like. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.